The question came on an ordinary evening, but it shattered the quiet balance of my life like a stone thrown through glass. One moment I was sitting across from my best friend in her warm little kitchen, the smell of coffee drifting through the air, and the next moment she looked at me with a strange mix of curiosity and vulnerability and asked something I never imagined I would hear from her. It wasn't the words alone that shook me. It was the way her eyes searched mine, as if she had been carrying that question for a long time. My heart began beating faster, and suddenly the comfortable years of friendship between us felt fragile, like something standing on the edge of change. Before we go any further, take a second to support the channel. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and stories that remind us how complicated and beautiful life can be, please like this video, share it with someone who loves emotional stories, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps these stories reach more people who might need them. I had known her for almost 9 years. We met when life had already broken me once. Back then, I was the kind of man people barely noticed. I worked long hours at a repair shop, fixing things that belonged to other people while my own life felt impossible to repair. My previous relationship had ended badly, leaving me with the quiet belief that maybe I simply wasn't enough for anyone. The world can do strange things to a person when rejection settles deep inside the heart. You start to believe every flaw someone pointed out about you. You start walking through life with your shoulders slightly lower, your voice slightly quieter, as if you're apologizing for existing. She walked into my life during one of those quiet afternoons at the shop. Her car had broken down, and she stood there in the doorway with messy hair, tired eyes, and a smile that somehow made the whole place feel brighter. There was nothing dramatic about that moment. No music playing in the background. No instant spark of romance. But something about her energy felt warm. While I worked on her car, she stayed and talked. Most customers left the moment they handed over their keys, but she sat nearby and told stories about her job, her chaotic apartment, and her endless attempts to learn cooking from the internet. By the time the repair was done, we had laughed more than I had laughed in months. That was how it began. Our friendship grew slowly, like something natural and steady. We started meeting for coffee on weekends. Sometimes we watched movies at her apartment. Other times we simply walked through the park, talking about everything from childhood memories to the strange fears people carry into adulthood. She was the kind of person who listened deeply. When I spoke, she didn't interrupt or rush the conversation. She made me feel like my thoughts mattered. And over time, something inside me began to heal. The pain from my past relationship slowly faded. I started smiling more. I started believing that maybe I wasn't as broken as I thought. But even as our friendship grew stronger, I kept one invisible wall around my heart. Because she was beautiful. Not just in the obvious way people notice at first glance, but in the way she treated others, in the way she cared about small things, in the way her laughter filled a room. And deep down, I was afraid. Afraid that if I let myself feel something more, I would ruin the one good connection I had left. So I kept my feelings quiet and buried them beneath the label of friendship. Years passed like that. She dated other people. Some of them were kind. Some of them were not. I listened to her stories about relationships that started with excitement and ended with disappointment. Each time, I stayed in my place, the loyal friend who gave advice, who fixed things around her apartment, who showed up when life felt heavy. I told myself that was enough. Until that evening. It was raining outside, the soft steady kind of rain that makes the world feel calm and reflective. I had come over to help her fix a loose cabinet door in her kitchen. When the work was done, we sat down with coffee, just like we had done 100 times before. But something felt different. She looked thoughtful, quiet in a way that didn't match her usual playful energy. After a long silence, she asked that unexpected question about whether I was good in bed. The words hung in the air like thunder before a storm. At first I thought she was joking. But her expression remained serious, almost vulnerable. My mind raced with confusion. Why would she ask that? Why now, after all these years? I could feel old insecurities rising inside me again. Memories of the relationship that had once convinced me I wasn't enough. For a moment, I didn't know what to say. But instead of giving some clever answer, I did something different. I told her the truth about how I used to believe I wasn't good enough for anyone. About how rejection had made me doubt everything about myself. About how I spent years learning that intimacy wasn't about proving something or being perfect, but about care, patience, and understanding another person's heart. The kitchen grew very quiet as I spoke. When I finally looked up, I noticed something in her eyes that surprised me. Tears. Not dramatic tears, but small quiet ones that appeared without warning. She admitted something that changed the entire meaning of that strange question. Her last relationship had ended only weeks earlier. The man she had been dating made her feel small, criticized her constantly, and treated intimacy like some kind of performance instead of a connection. For months she had started believing the same lie I once believed, that she wasn't enough. That night, she wasn't really asking about my skills. She was asking if kindness still existed in the world. If there were still people who understood that closeness between two humans was supposed to feel safe. That realization hit me harder than the question itself. Because suddenly, I saw her pain clearly. And for the first time in years, the invisible wall around my heart began to crack. The rain continued outside as we sat there sharing pieces of ourselves that had remained hidden for so long. There was no dramatic moment, no sudden romance like the movies often show. Instead, there was something quieter and far more powerful. Understanding. Over the next few weeks, we spent more time together than ever before. Long walks. Late-night conversations. Moments of laughter that slowly replaced the heaviness she had been carrying. Something between us was changing, but it didn't feel rushed or reckless. It felt natural. Like two people who had been walking beside each other for years were finally realizing they might belong on the same path. One evening, months later, we stood on her apartment balcony watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and purple. I remember thinking how strange life can be. The woman who once asked me the most unexpected question of my life had become the person who helped me believe in myself again. And maybe, in some quiet way, I had helped her believe in herself too. That was when I understood something important. Real connection isn't about proving anything. It isn't about skill, perfection, or living up to impossible expectations. It's about trust. It's about two people being brave enough to show their scars and discovering that those scars don't make them unworthy. They make them human. And sometimes, the most unexpected questions lead us to the most meaningful answers. If this story touched your heart even a little, please take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who believes in second chances, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss stories like this. And before this story ends, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and tell me, do you believe that real love often begins with friendship? Your voice matters, and your thoughts might inspire someone else who reads them. Life has a strange way of bringing people together when they need each other the most. Sometimes it starts with a simple conversation. Sometimes it starts with kindness. And sometimes, it starts with a question you never expected to hear.